Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today in the private group we're going to talk about how the XRP Escrow could be used as like a secret weapon by the United States, how it could be deployed. You're not going to want to miss this one, and what it could look like price-wise. This one's an eye-opener. Okay, if you want to join, you can go to daixrp.com to join through the Patreon, or you can click join below any of my YouTube videos if you'd rather join through YouTube. Don't forget, if you want to be ready for this market to spike and you would like to have institutional grade liquidity so that you can actually get out at the price you want to get out at, and you want to have someone you can talk to about doing that, and you want to have institutional grade custody, then you still need to get you a Caleb and Brown account. If you want to do that, it's easy. I made it easy for you. Go to xrpwealth589.com, which will forward you to my page on Caleb and Brown, where you click the sign up today button. We are only 16 days out, folks. I have been laying all my groundwork. My wife just bought me some shirts. I just bought some pants. I just bought one thing I've learned at XRP Las Vegas is I have to have one of these mobile chargers on me because I'm recording and stuff and taking pictures, and my phone always runs out. So I have one of these chargers, mobile chargers that I can keep in my pocket. So you got to think about all these things. Then you got to go to the dry cleaners. You got to go do all this stuff. Well, I've been working on all those things for the last few days. And I have also been working on dropping pounds, which I've done. I bet I've lost, at least 30 pounds over the last 8 months. And I'll tell you later how I did it. It's not with a shot, by the way. I do not, those shots that stuff makes me nervous. I just been eating right. But we're 16 days away. Go to xrplasvegas.com if you would like to get your tickets. I talked to Brad Combs this morning. The records has been shattered. We are into the thousands. That never has happened. XRP Las Vegas is minimum two times what it was when we started in 2023, folks. Twice as big. Started at Treasure Island in Las Vegas, and now we're at the MGM. This will be the second year in a row. All right, check it out. XRP's at 252. The market's a little bit flat right now. $103,000 Bitcoin. Now, Ryan Selkis, I think he has taken a little break. Now, before you hear this little clip I want to play for you, you must remember a couple of things. First of all, this guy is super arrogant, thinks he knows everything and everybody else is stupid. And the second thing you must know is that I think this guy has an anger issue I think he feels like he was the first one to become pro-Trump, and I think he feels like he was kind of pushed aside. That's just my observation. So he is the only person who is always spouting all kinds of negativity, like he knows everything and everybody else is stupid. And so he's the only one I've heard come out and say he doesn't think stablecoin legislation is going to pass, which means that the infrastructure bill won't be passed either. But I wanted to point out to everybody, if they did not pass, guess which digital asset is the only, and I do mean only, digital asset in the top 10 with legal clarity, which means you either went through a lawsuit or you're in a congressional bill that says that you're not a security. That is XRP, not Bitcoin. Bitcoin hasn't had a lawsuit. Bitcoin does not have legislation. Only XRP. They can say it all they want. CFTC can say it. SEC can say it. Lawmakers can say that Bitcoin's a commodity. But it doesn't make it legally so. And that's the fact, Jack. So here's what he's saying.
Brian Armstrong, Great progress on U.S. crypto legislation this week and more to come next week. So first of all, Nick Carter, 7 question marks. Alex Thorne from Galaxy, disappointing take Brian, and he had a very good article on why this is complete nonsense. A lot.
By the way, this is a much more toned down Ryan Selkis.
A lot of comments and a lot of people, kind of chirping more publicly than usual to Brian Armstrong. But I can tell you behind the scenes, everybody else in the crypto lobby, whether you're talking about Ripple, A16Z, Paradigm, pretty much everybody wants to see the Genius bill goes through. Coinbase is on an island right now. And they are the largest player in terms of the crypto political operation. Anyway, so great progress on the legislation this week, more to come next week. 1, market structure draft legislation introduced and discussed, as if that is an accomplishment, when that market structure legislation will absolutely go nowhere if the Genius bill fails this week and all momentum is lost. The Republicans will walk away. Just trust me on that. Number 2, bipartisan work continues to bring stablecoin legislation to the floor, likely voting again early next week, as if that's some major victory. I have seen no indications, nor has anyone else, that Ruben Gallego or Slotkin or Schumer or Mark Warner or any of the folks that had kind of reversed course on this are going to double back on their position from last week. They're basically all boxed into a corner where they must vote against it again this week, or run the risk of looking like they just got steamrolled. And for Gallego, at least, there's rumors that he has his eyes on the 2028 race for president. So, very low probability that he would turn around and basically look like he got strong-armed by a special interest group that is going to be very at odds with most of the Marxists that are going to be running in the primaries in 2028. And then the third thing that Brian Armstrong wrote in this tweet: Stand with Crypto Day, happening 5/14 next week, with 60+ crypto founders coming to DC. Advocates will be beating this drum. Ooh, goody. I'm sure they're going to take us seriously, kind of like they did last year. So, this is not a real thing, right? This is basically just a dog and pony show where...
Okay, so he has a very negative sentiment on things. The rest of crypto does not. Strong XRP volume returns, reaching nearly 20 billion. Open interest is also increasing, near 5 billion. Both factors going up lead to price increase. I like this one. Look at this. I love looking at this chart. We are here around 250 something. And if you look at the past bumps, it sure does look promising on this one. Then we've got this from Chad Steingraber. Amber International Holding Limited launches an initial $100 million digital asset reserve fund. Assets include XRP and these others. There's XRP. Initial allocations will focus on what the company described as high conviction digital assets, including XRP. Writings on the wall, folks. Look at Donald Trump. President Trump officially signs strategic economic partnership with Saudi Arabia, the same country that we did the petrodollar agreement with. The new financial system is ready. Folks, this dude was right. We're seeing so much winning, it's hard to take. And I love watching the egg all over the faces of the people that doubted Trump. Because there's also this.
As you know, we have the biggest business leaders in the world here. They're going to walk away with a lot of checks for a lot of things that you're going to provide. And in the United States, it's probably 2 million jobs that we're talking about this visit. So, number one, I like visiting with you, and we've known each other very well, and I really believe we like each other a lot. And number two, for the United States, we've brought tremendous investment in and tremendous jobs, and we'll continue to service your great country very well.
All right, and I want to show you all the winning, and don't forget, folks, Elon Musk just happened to be there in Saudi Arabia. I said, don't forget X Money, the WeChat of the United States. Make no mistake, it's in play. And so are digital assets. And then Zero Hedge is doing their victory lap. They had put out a tweet that Chinese delegation was spotted entering the Treasury Department before the deal was made. It all started with a secret meeting 3 weeks ago in the basement of the IMF headquarters during the group's spring meeting. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent met China's finance minister Lan Fang to talk about their country's collapse in trade relations. So that must have been what brought everybody to the table. And then this, you got to love this. JP Morgan drops U.S. recession call after U.S.-China trade truce. Trump's making them all look like clowns. S&P 500 erases all 2025 losses. And then you got this. U.S. inflation falls to 2.3%, lower than expectations. Here's Maria Bartiromo.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, CPI up 0.2% is a good number. And Mark Tapper, right before the number came out, I mentioned oil is down, eggs are down, food is down. We're seeing that reflected. So all that hysteria over tariffs is not showing up in these numbers.
No, not at all.
No, not at all. Look at this. UBS Bank just said they're telling you what their rich clients are buying.
Alternative is not just private market, and also hedge fund, commodity, and crypto. Interestingly, recently when I talked to some of the traditional family offices, they were telling me they are now looking at allocation of 5% in crypto. That's the reason why even traditional...
Just so you know, the digital asset investor called that about 5 years ago. I said they're all going to come in and they're going to allocate it just like they do with asset allocation. These financial advisors, they go meet with people and they say, you need to allocate your assets and spread them across all these different asset classes. At the time, I said, as I recall, I said, when this is over, they're going to be out. These financial advisors are not going to get into this until they figure out a way to get paid. And that's what you're seeing happen right now. And I said, once they do it, they're going to be allocating anywhere from 1 to 5% into crypto, and mainly in the blue chip crypto.
Banks like us, I have to make sure we get our platform ready to take on this opportunity. So I think definitely opportunity.
Yeah, you better believe it. And then this is the Australia, Andrew Charlton, Assistant Minister for the Digital Economy.
Cryptocurrency is no longer just an emerging technology. It's an asset that is valued by millions of Australians. It represents a new frontier in finance, enabling innovation, efficiency, and opportunity in ways we could not have imagined just a decade ago. The Australian government values this sector too, recognising its potential to drive economic growth, attract investment, and cement our place as a leader in the digital economy. Digital assets are more than a tool for transactions. They're an asset class in their own right, offering new avenues for wealth creation, financial inclusion, and secure decentralised systems. And Australians have embraced these possibilities, with millions already investing or using cryptocurrency in their daily lives. Now, our government is committed to getting this sector right. We're working to create a regulatory environment that supports innovation on the one hand by managing risks and protecting consumers on the other. And by collaborating with industry leaders, researchers and global partners, we aim to establish Australia as a safe, transparent and thriving hub for cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. This is a critical moment for this sector, and together we can harness the value of digital assets to build a resilient, inclusive and innovative future for our economy.
Yes, you can. And then this is interesting too. This is about the XRP and other ETF launches. Listen to this.
Now, we have Solana, XRP, Litecoin, and a variety, Dogecoin, and a variety of others. I think those are the main ones that have true 33x spot Bitcoin ETFs ready. And then there's some futures-based products. But in order to really have a nice ecosystem, you need futures. So where are we at with the altcoin futures, and how are the issuers leaning on you to get them out so they can roll their products out?
No, it's a great question. I think, for us, we, in addition to futures and options, we also have a family of reference rates covering 24 different coins and tokens, right? So we have these reference rates, and all our products are cash settled. So theoretically, the plan is that we would eventually look to hopefully launch futures on those reference rates. But before we do that, we really do need that regulatory clarity, right? So we need to know that these underlyings are considered commodities because we're regulated by the CFTC. CFTC regulates commodity products. So we got some of that clarity or more rather say regulatory comfort earlier this year with some of the changes in the U.S. administration, some of the changes that we're seeing on the regulatory level, some of the cases that have been dropped against some prominent firms. So that gave us some comfort around Solana, also gave us some comfort around XRP. I think when you look at those, and XRP incidentally goes live on May 19th, when you look at those four, Bitcoin, Ether,
6 days from now, folks,
Solana, XRP, taking out meme coins, taking out stable coins, that's covering roughly about 85% or so of the market capitalization of cryptocurrencies. So, let's assume that we have that.
How about them apples? Okay. We're going into DAIXRP.com, which is my Patreon, if you'd like to join through there. If you'd rather join on YouTube, just click the join button below any of my YouTube videos. Today, we're going to just speculate. What if the XRP escrow was always intended to be strategically deployed by the United States? How would that happen? What would that look like? What would it look like for the price? What could it look like? So if you enjoy wild speculation the way I do, then come into the group today. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Let's go wildly speculate. Here we go.